Good morning. Welcome to Jin Shin Institute, and I'm very, very happy and honored to have Elizabeth Cutler here. And I've known Elizabeth for almost 30 years.
Long time, really long time. Good morning.
And Elizabeth is the co-founder of Soulcycle, and she also is a Jin Shin Jitsu practitioner. And once you get into
my first
Jin Shin
love,
Jitsu,
you know. Once you get into Jin Shin Jitsu, you can never quit it.
right? So here we are finally together. So for the people who don't know, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. Thanks for setting this up. I'm sorry I'm late. Downtown traffic is horrible, and the subways were a mess. But I'm here now.
I'm so happy you made it.
Me too.
And we're totally cool.
Yeah.
What is Jin Shin Jitsu for the people who don't know? There's some new people tuning into this today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So Jin Shin Jitsu is like the grandparent of acupuncture. It is. It restores the energetic pathways in the body that somehow get obstructed as a result of our daily use and stress and just sometimes environment, just all the things that we feel as humans. And you use your hands like jumper cables if your body's like a battery, and it helps to restore these pathways so that you feel better. You just feel more alive, you feel more connected to source. And I haven't really described, I used to do self-help classes every Thursday night when I lived in Telluride for 10 years, and I haven't really had the opportunity to describe Jin Shin Jitsu for a long time, so thank you for that. I'm sure there's a lot to add. Perhaps really I should be asking you that question.
Yeah, well, it's really nice to hear from you, because we've been doing our best to make it very simple and approachable, because it's not as much known, and so that's our vision of Jin Shin Institute, is to open it up to the world. So it's really nice to hear you give an explanation, which I think you did well. How long have you been? When did you find it, and how did you find it?
I
feel
like I looked for it forever. Let's see. I found it in my early 20s. I was living in Telluride. I had been searching since my late teens, because when I was a teenager, my best friend got cancer, and she had a lot of treatments, and the technological medicine has changed a tremendous amount. But at that time, she just really suffered as a result of the treatments that she was getting. And my 16-year-old self was like, there has got to be something else going on out there, because this cannot be the only answer. This is terrible. It was terrible for her. And so, you know, after she passed away, I was like, I gotta really figure this out. So I did, when I was in college, I did a study abroad program. I went to India. I felt like I searched the world, and I really didn't find anything. And then I ended up, I found many things, but I didn't feel like I found the thing that was answering that question about restoring harmony to the body, that was non-toxic, and that there was like a lifestyle and an understanding about,
like a philosophy.
Exactly.
It's
like
not
a
just
way
a
of teaching.
technique, right?
Yes, something that really hit home, honestly. Anyway, when I was in Telluride, there was a man named Daniel Tucker who started something called the AHA School, and he was a long-time Jin Shin Jitsu practitioner, and he introduced me to Jin Shin Jitsu, and I started studying, and I just fell in love. And
so it was very close to home then. It was right in Telluride.
Yeah.
You went to India.
Yeah, of course.
Travel
like
around
go around the world to come home again.
Right.
You know, we always say that. You always do.
And then you had a practice, because I live uptown and you live downtown, so we never really connected, because in New York that's really far.
It's like living in Connecticut, and I'm like you living in Connecticut and me living in New Jersey.
Right. But I always heard you were such a very good practitioner. You had a very good reputation as a practitioner, and
nice
so we're going to do an exchange soon, right? Finally.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
But
no, I loved practicing Jin Shin Jitsu, and I did practice downtown, and I practiced in Telluride too.
And now you stopped practicing, right?
Well, I practice on myself every day, so I really do feel like, every day. Like, there are very few things that I do every day, so it's up there with like brushing your teeth, you know. And so I feel like I have this like lifelong commitment to having Jin Shin Jitsu in my life, and I feel like people are ready to maybe start talking about these things that are so accessible to us, like the access that we have to breath. We breathe all day long, and the access that we have to our hands as jumper cables, they're just here all day long.
So we can apply them anytime and help to heal ourselves or others. Did you work on your children as well? Are they aware of it?
So this is So they had a lot of Jin Shin Jitsu when I was pregnant, and I really believe that changed a lot for us as a family, for sure. And then I worked on them a little bit when they were younger. I feel like I just really worked on myself. And Mary Burmeister, who brought Jin Shin Jitsu to greater awareness in the United States, who always talked about, like, if you want to treat your child, go into their room at night and work on yourself. So I kind of took that approach, you know. And
you lie down next to them and fall asleep.
Yeah, kind of. And anyway, so I do feel like I just got busy with other things, and I kind of kept it like this little, like, private secret, which is so dumb because it's something that I should be talking about.
I mean, it's important to spread it to the world also because it's so easy to do on yourself, and anybody can do it. Like a mom can help if a child has a cough or a fever. You hold 2 points and you help to harmonize the energy, and the fever will go down. So spreading the word. So that's why I'm also so grateful you're here today.
Yeah, it's good to spread the word. It's a powerful practice, and it's like, to me, there's so many similarities as a person who practiced Jin Shin Jitsu for a long time, and then in starting Soulcycle, just the energy of, I mean, there's so many touch points, really. But like for me, just in some ways, Soulcycle, people can talk about it, but until you experience it, it's a bit hard to connect the dots. And I found that also with Jin Shin Jitsu. Like, I would tell people about Jin Shin Jitsu, and they would kind of look at me a little sideways. I don't know what it's like for you. You might be a better describer. But then once they try it, it's like the lights go on and they completely get it. And then in that way, I find the two experiences to be very much linked.
So I wanted to veer into that area a little bit now. So you decided to start a business, and it became Soulcycle. How did that come about from being a practitioner? You had a family already?
I did. I had 2 little kids, and when the kids were young, I was still practicing. And when I work with people on the table, like, I'm quiet and I'm meditative, and I really kind of like get out of the way and allow honestly the creator's energy to come through. So I didn't, and I don't mean that in a religious way, I just mean that in a way of like connecting to source. And anyway, it was so quiet and meditative, and I loved it. And yet when the kids were young, I'm like, this is like I need to be more out in the world. Like, I really had this calling to be more out in the world. And I also was super desperate for cardio.
Yourself?
I don't like to work
yourself.
out. Yes, oh my God, I was so desperate. And I also feel like when I lived in Telluride, it was such a small community, and I knew everybody, and I loved everybody. And I loved bumping into them and knowing what was going on in their lives and their kids and all this sort of thing. And then when I moved to New York, I didn't have any friends except for Alan, and I didn't really know that many people in my neighborhood. And I think that there was an unconscious desire on my part to want to recreate my experiences in a small town, but in a big city through the vehicle of like these studios where people get to know each other and become friends and have community.
So for a great part, it was that for yourself that you wanted to have this great way to exercise.
Yeah,
that you
for sure.
developed the bike. Can you explain what it is a little bit?
Yeah, I can.
I've taken it, so
it's fun. It's really fun. So it's
fun.
a few things. It's a few things rolled into one. Well, first of all, I really don't like to work out. I'm so intimidated by gyms, and I really never thought about it because when you live in an area where you're sort of closer to nature, you don't think about it because you just hiking with your friends or your dog, and then your hike's over. And you don't really think about that as exercise. It's just you went for a walk and you did some deep breathing and it felt fantastic, and maybe you talked about some things, and you solved your problems and then went on with your day, right?
Just nature, yes.
Yeah. And so I feel like I had a real yearning for that from a fitness perspective in New York, and I couldn't find it. And so I set out to create that with Julie, because we ended up meeting and having very similar aligned views on it. And so what we felt was we wanted to create a place where people could feel different as soon as they walked in the door. And so part of that was going to have to be that we wanted people to be excited to go to work in the morning. And was living with somebody who was a banker who was super not excited to go to work in the morning. So I thought, like, what would life be like if people were excited to go to work in the morning? How would it make the people feel who were receiving that service? And so we wanted to create an environment that felt like hospitality, so that people knew you and they cared about you and they welcomed you and they made sure that you were cared for, and so you didn't have to worry about that. You could really let that go. And then in the rooms, we wanted to create an environment where the teachers could say things that were like real and authentic and inspirational and not canned, and you could listen to amazing music, and you could be in the dark, and you could just be like moving in rhythm with other people, and through that rhythm like become one but still be alone. So like you were alone together.
So it is like this collective energy.
Yes, for
that
sure.
then comes up and becomes so big and powerful, and then when you leave you feel so good and centered.
Right, exactly. So it's very similar to Jin Shin Jitsu in that way.
That is interesting.
It is. There's a lot of connectivity in that, for sure.
How did you get the name Soulcycle?
We were looking for something along those lines, and my husband just walked out of the shower one morning and he was like, what about Soulcycle? We had some terrible names in the beginning, really bad names. Like,
it's great.
I can't remember what it was. Ride NYC. Not that that's bad, but it's not Soulcycle.
Because in a way it connects us to spirituality. Soulcycle has like a,
that was the point.
Which is so, that's very cool.
That was the point. That was the point, to have a place where when you really get into that tribal feeling on the bike, that you can plug into what it is inside yourself or in the universe that you need to feed or you need to feel. And we don't often give ourselves permission for that. So I really, and Julie too, like for me especially, I just felt like the human experience has so many challenges for people, and you just never know when you're going to need whatever it is. And I wanted to have a secular space for people to feel safe to do that, because I feel like people deserve to have that.
And you reached out really to the next generation. I mean, my daughter loves it. And she goes, and she took me to Soulcycle too. Mom, you have to go. So we did it together. It's really great how you reached out to these younger people, and all ages go. But we have one right here in the corner, and you see all ages come in. So it's great.
Well, the kids take it's interesting. In some places, the parents go, and then the kids hear about it, and then they want to go. And in some places, the kids hear about it, and then they take the parents.
Right.
But regardless, I think that we really loved how, you know, again, like this is another similarity with Jin Shin Jitsu, like anybody can do it. And so it is really inspiring to see that people, like teenagers could do it, and people on up into their 70s, depending upon their mobility, could do it. And people could do it together.
And working the body is so important. I mean, when we think of the Jin Shin Jitsu philosophy of body, mind, and spirit, they're all one. So it is, I exercise too, and you exercise, and we do our energy work as well to connect body, mind, and spirit. And so this is such an important part of it. And you've used the words health, transformation, journey, fun. I mean, I love these words because we use them also. Do you have anything to say about a little bit more about the philosophy of Jin Shin Jitsu and how that ties in? You've talked a little bit about it, and also the wisdom of Jin Shin Jitsu and some quotes. Is it like always a part of you and in what you create?
Well, I have to say, I think one of the reasons why Jin Shin Jitsu may be more relevant now than ever is because people are rightfully questioning what's real, you know, what's true. What I'm receiving, what I'm hearing, what I'm reading, is this authentic? Is it like the real thing? And when you think about Jin Shin Jitsu as a philosophy, the core of that philosophy is connecting to the divine, right? Connecting to the creator, and that creator energy is just pure energy. So like it's the place of wholeness, it's the place of oneness, right? So to me, and I think like anybody who is interested in this sort of thing, like once you connect with that kind of guess there's so many ways to describe it, but I mean, it's hard to, right? Like that purity or that like power or...
And we've all felt it. Like when something falls, everything falls into place and you just feel really happy and centered. Yeah. That is that place of connection. But then when we start to do things and we're rushing and you get out of balance with that harmony, right? So this universal harmony and the connection to your individual body.
Totally.
Yeah. I think, people are also, like today, yoga is becoming a big thing, and people are looking for this kind of thing, I think, to probably get some peace.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Oh my God, for sure. And I think you're right. I think like everybody knows it. Like you know it when you feel it. And I think Jin Shin Jitsu just kind of helps explain, I guess, like how to connect to it, and just really through simple ways. And I love in Jin Shin Jitsu how everything is cumulative. Like as you start to work on yourself over time, you start to feel better and better.
And it becomes part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, for sure. Important. I mean, it is. And I will say, like, I really want to add this because I don't know. I felt like my tank was so full from all those years of practicing Jin Shin Jitsu. I have so much gratitude for Jin Shin Jitsu. I really don't know that I would have been able to, I'm a little bit of a type B'er. So
yeah, because that's a major business to develop. When did you start?
So thanks to Jin Shin Jitsu that I felt like I had the tank to do it. My tank was full on it. Sorry.
When was the beginning of Soulcycle? How long ago did you start it?
So it's the end of 2018 now, and we started in 2006, and I had 2 kids. Nina was 3, and when we opened in April, and when we opened, Lucy had just turned 1, and Nina was just about to turn 4. So I had 2 little. So that's a lot of little kids.
A lot of balancing right there.
Yeah.
With a family and opening up such a big business. Because
you did most of it big to begin with. I mean,
right.
Everything's. It's, a long journey begins with 1 step.
Yeah, so you started from scratch, really.
Yeah, sure.
Right? You and Julie.
Yep. Out of my station wagon and a lot of trips to IKEA.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, that's
amazing
great. Where was your first location?
On the Upper West Side, or as Julie calls it, the Upper Best Side. And we started there because we found a space on Craigslist that suited our needs. And it was near the subways, so it was efficient for me to get there. I didn't have to take multiple subways to get to our first location. And we found that...
And you're type B a little bit, so...
A little bit. I mean, to have it like be easy, but I feel like I'm type B, but then there's certain things happen and I'm like, I might be type A. I might be a control freak. Ooh.
Yeah.
I guess we all are,
it's
to a certain
degree. It's probably a good balance. I mean, we went to some Soulcycles to tell about this interview, and the people loved you. They all, the personnel, they were like, oh, we want to share this with our team. Yeah, we all love Elizabeth.
I love all those teams. I have to say that the work that the studios do on the hour is, to me, as I look at like what's really transforming, like that is truly transformational energy and activity that those guys do on the hour. I mean, whether it's the people who are greeting you when you walk in the door, the people who are teaching the classes that are holding that energy for 40, 50, 60, 70 people at a time, or the people who are like cleaning up, and making sure that things are pleasant for people to walk in and feel safe. I mean, the people who work in those studios and that ride in those studios, that those communities were seated with such love, and I have a lot of gratitude for the people who continue to do that on the hour every day.
And I must believe that you and Julie were a great part of that all, bringing in this kind of spirit into a business.
Oh, for sure. And we also had the best time.
Yeah, so I mean, that is so important, right? I mean, you can't you have to have fun with it. It has to be in alignment, all of this, and then you can create such a beautiful business that continues. And they're like, oh, I love Elizabeth. That's how.
I love them.
It's wonderful.
I really do love them. No, we always say like soul people are the best people, because we had a great time working together. It was really hard to
community, tribe, and generation.
Yeah, right? all those things, really good.
You also did a great job in marketing all of this. How did that, how did you get such a good business side as well?
Oh, for me?
Yeah, for you. Like, how were you able to do this?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because when I was living in Thailand, I thought it's just like, how am I this person who I have such a deep, like truly like deep well and love for that which is like considered like spiritual, which to me is just connecting with the divine. And then I also have like a commerce side. Like I like business. I like it. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like those two things never had the opportunity to cross over. So it was such a blessing when I met Julie and that we shared sort of a common vision around what it could be. We never in the beginning, you know, promised people that they cry on the bike or any of that stuff, or that they could really, it could be cathartic and they could do some letting go, because mm-hmm. nobody wants to sign up for that. Mm-hmm. We promised them a great time with great music and a great environment with awesome teachers and fantastic human beings greeting them, and calories, like they could burn some calories. Like it was definitely like the vanity bar. Mm-hmm. But what our real intention, which is why, to your point, it was called Soulcycle, was we wanted to be able to deliver a different kind of experience and also put things around that would support that experience. So, for example, you know, athleisure was not something that was super highly curated at that time, which is kind of crazy to think about now. What is athleisure? Just like workout wear, which is
beautiful things.
It's true.
Amazing.
Yeah,
the materials. I love the materials. So soft.
There's a lot of great stuff in there, and there has been for a while. And I think but that was like something that we really wanted to have happen. Now you see it on every corner, and also just. Booking online. I mean, that was a unique thing in 2006 to be able to plan your fitness for the week. And now it's just a different, you know, things have changed quite a lot and quite quickly.
And that was a big thing for you to develop because you were one of the first to do that.
Yes.
Right? The booking online.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now everybody does it.
Well, everybody should do it. So it makes sense that it sort of evolved that way. But it made a big difference for people just to be able to care for them and realize like that we need to make this easy. But in terms of marketing, to answer your question, I think, you know, a lot of it has to do with understanding how to speak to people and meet them where they are, and we always tried to do that. And most of our marketing was really through taking care of the people that were already walking through our doors, because, you know, then they would talk about their experiences or what kind of crazy stuff was. I mean, crazy stuff happened in class. This is not an entirely spiritual experience, let's face it. But, you know, you get a bunch of sweaty people together in a room and anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. And stuff happens, yeah. I want to talk a little bit about money, because some practitioners, they have a hard time charging, and they, you know, can you talk a little bit about energy exchange and money and how people can come to terms with charging and your vision on that?
So I'm glad you asked that, because I think that there's a good correlation, because when we started Soulcycle, for example, people kept on saying to us, why in the world would I pay for something? Like, they were talking to us like we are dumb. Why would I pay for something that I get for free at my gym? Mm-hmm. And what we needed to prove to them was that we were providing something that was valuable and that was worth the money. And I also always notice that people value what they pay for. So if you give somebody something for free, sometimes they don't really value it. So to the point of like feeling like you can charge for your work, you can charge for your work. It's okay. And I think you just have to, you know, obviously not everybody has the same ability to pay, and you kind of, you know, work that out. But I think in general, it's important that if you're going to offer something to somebody, especially a one-on-one experience.
It would be uneven if you give somebody something and there's no exchange. Like in that way you can, I guess, kind of see it as an energy exchange where you give your time and they pay you for the time.
Sure.
So that's a little bit different in Soulcycle, because the classes are not cheap at Soulcycle, but people, they pay it, they love it.
Well, I don't think they're expensive. I mean, listen, they're expensive, but it just depends on. I always looked at it as inexpensive personal training, because I move myself much harder there than I would on my own. Or 2 cocktails in a city where would I rather have 2 cocktails or 45 minutes of Soulcycle? That's not even a question for me. So I just kind of felt like if I look at that in terms of like what people's values are, that's a no-brainer. And I think that goes to the same thing of an hour of Jiu-Jitsu or a self-help class or whatever
it's
it is.
what people prioritize, really.
Yes.
How important is your exercise and this great workout? Mm-hmm. How important is it to get a session and pay for it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's an important message to the Jiu-Jitsu community, that it's okay and that our work is valuable. And that they can...
It's important. The work's important. I mean, the work is very important, and it's more necessary than ever.
What do you think of social media today? And do you use it a lot? Well, you have 2 kids who are probably into it too.
They're weirdly self-monitoring about it. I mean, relative to what it could be like. I think social media is great. I think everything, it's like sugar. Mm-hmm.
It's addictive.
Too much sugar is like really a bad thing.
Right,
Too much social media is the same thing. So I think it's great for messaging, and I think if you're a good storyteller, it's an amazing medium. I'm so impressed by the people who are able to tell fantastic, stories, and we've incredible narratives. It's really, really awesome. For business, I mean, I think you just have to figure out how to communicate to people in the way that they want to be met, and also that's true for you, and then just keep doing it. I think a lot of people like myself have fear of posting, and in some ways, like, the younger kids don't have that.
Right.
Right, so you're used to it now. But that's the point, is that it's like any muscle. The more you do it, the more confident and more comfortable you feel you doing it.
Yeah. So we're doing a lot of it to reach out to more people. So that is
just so great.
So you sold, you and Julie sold it, sold Soulcycle, and you made some good money. Yeah. And so what is your passion today, and what are you doing?
I'm here today with you. I'm doing a lot of things. I have been working with a few different companies to try to help them get into the market or to take their business to the next level. And so in the last, I guess, year, I chose 4 companies to work with, and that's been really interesting. And working with founders is something that I like to do. And Julie and I spent a lot of time trying to figure a lot of things out, and it was at times exhausting, and at times heartbreaking, and at times grueling, and at times awesome. And I think I just wanted to, try to share a lot of the stuff that we had learned so that people could do things faster, because speed is so important right now for business, which is also a double-edged sword, I think. And then I'm allowing myself to recharge and get
sounds
more
like you're
grounded.
Pretty busy, though. Sounds like
you're
working
busy.
hard.
I am busy, and I am. Well, New York likes that energy. Like,
We do like it,
and it's fun.
I mean, look how great you look, just running in here, and boom, here we go. It's very fast paced.
It is,
right?
Yeah,
so
it is, and that's exciting. That's exciting. So I've been doing that, and I've been painting quite a lot. I've been learning how to make new food that is interesting for my family to eat, and that's healthy.
So you spend more. Do you spend a lot of time with your family? I mean, your kids.
Yeah, I'm spending a lot more time with my kids than I did when they were little. When they were little, I felt like I just gave them a credit card. I'm like, it's cool. I'll be back. Don't grow up to be an asshole.
And
now they're fine.
You have a few more years before they go.
Exactly, and they're going to be leaving soon. So I need to. It's great to have the opportunity to know them and for them to know me.
Yeah.
And I didn't see
Do
them
they
for
go
those
to
10
Soulcycle?
years. No, of course they don't.
I
because
know.
why would they?
I know.
That is so uncool. No, I'm telling you, it's super cool. People really like it.
Yeah.
No, they go sometimes. They'll go when other people want to go. And
Their
thank
friends.
goodness, thank you for other people who would want to go.
Right, yeah.
Because then it gets them to go.
It's my mom's.
I know,
my mom.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if there's any questions from the community. We opened it up. Not so far. Okay, I just wanted to. I'm
happy that people are
people
here.
are listening. I think
thank you for taking your time.
We probably covered a lot here.
Yeah.
So for our next link live, we have Carlos, who is a teacher from Brazil, and he's going to be teaching here for JSJ Inc. next month, and he's going to do a link live here.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll hear more about that. And then this Saturday I have a self-help class. It's a 2-hour self-help class, really to introduce people, so anybody that's watching, and if you think it could be good for friends, please send them over. And then on Sunday I teach a class at the JCC for people with cancer, and so through BreastLink it's free. And so that people can still sign up for that. So that's my announcement.
Jin Shin Jitsu is so great for everything.
It's great, right?
It's so great for everything. It really is.
I lost a dear friend to cancer too, and after that, it's when I found Jin Shin Jitsu.
Is that right?
As well. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that we had that in common.
Yeah, we did have that in common.
Yeah, there's just those things that are so painful, they kind of push you to the next level. And it's weird how they have silver linings, but yeah, it's been a great gift to my life, I have to say. And that you're doing that for cancer patients is so great. It's just like, God.
People need to know, and it's so simple to empower yourself and to feel better, really.
And even then, just something to do, man, especially if you're having to sit and get chemo. I mean, there's only so much TV. Well, you can do it while you're watching TV too, which is great.
Yeah, and the spleen flow helps with the blood count, keeping the immune system up, and it's just very, very helpful.
No, it really is. It really is. It's helpful with everything. Everybody needs a spleen flow. It's funny, when the kids were little, I do remember, like, they would be watching a video and I give them Jin Shin Jitsu because I thought, are they going to like TV?
Yes.
Because
we do.
I've been giving them Jin Shin Jitsu. They like it that much better.
Yeah.
But once you start to feel the pathways restored, it's such a, oh my gosh, it's just the most nourishing.
Yeah. And for me too, I do it every day, and all of my clients do too. It becomes a part of your routine.
And then to be able to teach that nourishment through self-help, it's so great. Yeah, self-help.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yes, right here at Jin Shin Institute.
That's great.
We also offered by webinar, by the way. So
perfect.
Anyway, so what do you have?
I'm so glad you're doing this. It makes me so happy.
Yes,
it makes me so happy. I really want Jin Shin Jitsu to be better known and known by all, because it's changed my life so much.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful
it's
you're
wonderful
here.
That
By the way, I have a few more questions for you. Do you have any advice for practitioners? Any specific advice for Jin Shin Jitsu practitioners?
It's been a while since I've practiced. I think it's about radiating. I think a lot of it is, listen, I think Jin Shin Jitsu as a full-time job, depending upon where you live, can be tough because life is expensive. Things cost money. So it's hard for me to say that exactly, but I know that for me, when I was practicing, it was always my major side hustle. And I just found, as a major side hustle, it was kind of great because I could be so joyful about how I talked about it and how I felt about it, instead of stressing out about having to find more people, get more people, the stress of just trying to bring in business.
But don't you think that's partly the issue, that it's so little known? If people would know more about it, I mean, that's what we're doing at Jin Shin Institute, is spreading the word, so that it is as known as Shiatsu and acupuncture and Reiki. I mean, it's right there with those modalities. So that's
it should be
one of the issues. That's
the most well known.
All these Facebook lives and
right.
It's important to spread it. Let people know.
And it will spread, because, like I said, I mean, it's been here, and people are more ready for it than ever. And I also feel like it's efficacious. I mean, it really works.
Yeah.
And sometimes some energy work, if you're sensitive to it, you can feel it, or you want to hope to believe it, but this you actually do feel. So the work that you're doing is very important in that way. And I do agree that as it becomes more well known, that people will have an easier time being able to make the kind of living that they want to make through their practice. Exactly. Yeah. I guess I was speaking to my previous experience from so long ago in a small town.
Yes, so we are really developing the institute here to train people and to have a certification program and all of that, so that people can really practice and have a business plan behind it. So that's what we're moving to. And
so great.
If you have one favorite self-help for the community, what is it? What is your favorite that you would like to share with people?
Okay, so self-help. So if you don't know that much about Jin Shin Jitsu, and it's sounding kind of abstract, which it does, there are in the energetic pathways, you put your hands on certain locks that are called friends.
So yeah, safety energy
Safety
locations.
energy locks.
SELs, yeah.
And the energetic locks help restore the pathways. So my favorite self-help is the main central, which is the main connection to the divine. It's the main, because I like the main
it
line.
while you're talking. I'm gonna.
Well, it's when you're lying down. So when I wake up in the morning, I realize that it's morning, and I'm like, oh, it's another day. And then I put my hand on my head and on my third eye, and I do some breathing, and then I go down the center of my body while I'm lying down, and I hold these locks and I breathe. And it takes, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending upon how much time I have and how early I woke up. And then the last movement is the right hand goes to your coccyx, to your sacrum. Thank you, Alexis. And you just stay there until you feel the energetic, you can feel the pulse underneath your hands feel the same. And that is one of the ways that you know that the pathway has been restored. If you don't feel it, you don't have to worry about it, because it's okay. Just doing it is
because it's there, the pulse,
because it's there.
The pulse is there, and it's really an awareness. If you do it a couple of times, that pulse is there, so you're going to feel it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful. Well,
exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much for sharing.
I'm so
Did
happy
I cover
to be here.
everything?
You did. I want to talk about it forever, because I just love this practice so much, and I have so much gratitude that you're taking on this immense and important project to raise awareness about Jin Shin Jitsu and help people access it and bring it into their lives. It's
thank you so much, and thank you so much for coming in. I'm sure we will meet again.
I
really
absolutely,
soon.
Absolutely, many times over.
All right.
And thank you all for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you all. Bye.